Long ago, in a quiet village beside a thick forest, lived a woman named Mama Ebele. She was known for one thing, her cooking. Her pots made sweet stew, tasty jollof rice, and soups that could make you cry with joy. People came from far away to eat her food, but Mama Ebele had one rule. She never cooked after sunset. No one knew why, they just accepted it. Some said she was afraid of something. Others said she had a secret. One evening, a stranger came into the village. He was tall and dressed in black. His eyes were strange, deep and glowing. He knocked on Mama Ebele's door. "I've heard of your cooking," he said. "Can you prepare me a meal tonight?" Mama Ebele looked up at the sky. The sun had just dipped below the hills. She hesitated. Then, against her rule, she nodded. "Just this once." She whispered and went to her kitchen. Mama Ebele lit the fire and chopped vegetables. She added spices, poured oil, and hummed as she worked. But as the stew started to bubble, strange things began to happen. The wind outside stopped. Her candle flickered. The air grew cold. The man in black sat quietly at her table, not blinking. She served him the food. He ate without using his hands. The spoon floated by itself and fed him bite by bite. Mama Ebele froze. Her heart beat faster. "Thank you," the man said, standing up. "This is the best meal I've had in 100 years." Mama Ebele stared at him, unable to speak. "I shall return tomorrow night," he added, and vanished before her eyes, like smoke blowing away. She screamed. Neighbors ran in, but the house was empty. Only the smell of stew filled the air. "Are you all right?" they asked. Mama Ebele nodded slowly. She didn't sleep that night. The next day, Mama Ebele tried to forget. She cooked for villagers, smiled and swept her yard. But as the sun began to set, her hands shook. She locked her doors and blew out her lamps. But at the stroke of midnight, she heard a knock. 3 soft taps. She did not answer. The next morning, she found a white rose on her doorstep. No one in the village grew white roses. For the next 3 nights, the knocks continued. Each morning, a white rose would be waiting. On the fourth night, the voice behind the door said, "I'm hungry again." Mama Ebele. Her knees weakened. She couldn't speak. "I brought friends," the voice added. Mama Ebele covered her ears. She did not open the door. The next morning, there were 3 white roses at her doorstep. Fear settled in her bones. Mama Ebele visited the village elder. She told him everything. The elder listened and nodded slowly. "You have fed the dead," he said. "Now they remember your taste." "What do I do?" she asked. "Feed them again," the elder said. "But this time, don't let them leave hungry." Mama Ebele did not understand. "What happens if they do?" she asked. The elder looked at the sky. "Then they will eat something else." That night, Mama Ebele set her table with 5 plates. She cooked all her best dishes: goat meat pepper soup, palm oil rice, bitter leaf stew. As the moon rose, they came. Silent figures floated in, their feet never touching the ground. Eyes glowing, mouths quiet. The man in black sat first, then the others joined. They ate in silence. Spoons rose on their own, plates emptied one by one. Mama Ebele watched, trembling. When the last plate was cleared, the man in black stood. "You have done well," he said, "but one more meal must be made." Mama Ebele swallowed hard. "What meal?" she asked. "The final one," he said, "for the one who waits in the forest." He turned and pointed. All the ghosts vanished. Mama Ebele stood alone, her heart pounding. The fire in her kitchen went out by itself. Mama Ebele could not ignore the voice in her head, the one who waits in the forest. That night, she packed her pot, spoon, and some dry yams. She walked to the edge of the forest and stood still. If I feed him, maybe this will end, she whispered. Then slowly she stepped into the trees. Owls hooted, leaves rustled, though there was no wind. She walked until she saw it, a tree taller than any other, and under it was a shadow. The shadow under the tree was darker than night. It did not move, but Mama Ebele knew it was alive. Its shape was too still. She slowly set her pots down and began to cook. Her hands shook as she chopped onions and stirred the fire. The forest was silent. No animals, no crickets, not even wind. As the pot began to boil, the shadow grew taller. It stretched and opened glowing red eyes. I smell home, it said, in a voice like thunder wrapped in fog. Mama Ibele did not speak. She just kept cooking. She added spices, fish, and some herbs the elder had given her. The shadow moved closer. It had no face, just smoke and eyes. You cook like her, it said. Who? Mama Ibele asked, her voice small. The one I loved before death took me, it replied. The stew was almost ready. She poured it into a wooden bowl and placed it in front of the shadow. Eat, she said, then stepped back quickly. The shadow lowered itself to the ground. The bowl floated. The stew began to disappear spoon by spoon. The trees around them bent slightly as if watching. You have fed my hunger, the shadow said, after the bowl was empty. But hunger is not what brought me. Mama Ebele's hands tightened. What do you want? She asked. You cooked for one who cheated death, it said. Now he must be returned. Mama Ebele blinked. The man in black? She whispered, and the shadow nodded. You must make a dish that sends him back, said the shadow, or he will stay forever and gather more to feed on the living. Mama Ebele nodded slowly. What must I cook? She asked. The shadow opened its smoky hand and dropped 3 strange seeds into her palm. Boil these. Mix them with the oil of silence and pepper from the edge of sorrow. Mama Ebele did not know what those were, but the shadow vanished before she could ask. Her hand burned where the seeds lay. She returned to the village as the sun rose. Her neighbors saw her and gasped. Her eyes were red from no sleep, her feet were muddy, and her wrapper was torn. She walked straight to the elder. He wants me to send the man in black back, she said. The elder looked grave. You must go to Mama Ogo, the old herb woman. She knows the oil of silence. Mama Ibele set off again, this time to the edge of the village where Mama Ogo lived. Mama Ogo's hut was made of clay and leaves. Smoke always rose from its chimney, and strange smells filled the air. Mama Ibele knocked once. The door opened by itself. I know why you've come, Mama Ogo said. She was old, her skin like bark, her eyes like storm clouds. Come, come inside the hut, she said. Inside the hut were jars, feathers, and bones hanging from ropes. Oil of silence, Mama Ogo said, reaching for a jar of thick black liquid. One drop will quiet even the dead. Now you need the pepper from the edge of sorrow, Mama Ogo said. That one you must find yourself. Where is it? Mama Ebele asked. The old woman pointed to the hills beyond the river. There, in the valley of forgotten tears. Mama Ebele sighed. Her hands and legs ached. Her eyes burned, but she nodded. She would go. The man in black could not stay. The village was in danger. She left at once, carrying the seeds and the oil wrapped in cloth. The journey to the valley was long. She crossed the river on a shaky boat. The water was black and slow. She climbed hills and walked through thorny bushes. Finally, she reached the valley. It was quiet. No birds, no wind, just thousands of white stones. Each stone had a name carved into it, names of people who were forgotten. In the middle of the valley grew one single plant, a small green stem with bright red peppers. She plucked one, and it burned her fingers. With the pepper, the oil, and the seeds, Mama Ebele returned home. Night was falling. She had only one chance. She lit her fire and began to cook. She ground the pepper, mixed in the oil, and added the strange seeds. As the stew boiled, the air grew thick. Shadows began to stretch along the walls. The wind outside stopped. Then a knock came. Just one. Mama Ebele did not answer. The door opened on its own, and the man in black stood there smiling. I smell something different, he said, stepping in. It smells like goodbye. Mama Ebele stood tall. Sit and eat, she said. He sat, and the bowl floated to him. He looked at the stew, then at her. You made a dish of return, he said. You want to send me back? She nodded. I will not go alone, he said, baring his teeth. But it was too late. He took a bite, his eyes widened, he dropped the spoon, and his body began to fade. No, he screamed, voice breaking like glass. You tricked me. His hands reached out but touched nothing. His form crumbled like ash. A scream shook the air, and then he was gone. Silence fell. The fire died, and Mama Ebele stood alone in her kitchen, breathing hard. The stew pot was empty. Only a white rose lay where the man in black had sat. She picked it up and placed it on her window sill. The ghost never came again. Word spread across the village. Mama Ebele had sent a ghost away. People came to thank her, bringing gifts, yams, clothes, and palm wine. But Mama Ebele smiled only a little. Something still troubled her. That night, she cleaned her kitchen. As she wiped her table, she found something under her pot. A seed. One of the ghost seeds had not been cooked. It pulsed softly, glowing faintly. She picked it up and the whispering began. Feed us, the voices said. We are still hungry. Mama Ebele dropped the seed and stepped back. The whispers stopped. She picked it up again. Feed us, the voices returned. She placed the seed in a jar and sealed it tight. Then she buried it deep in the forest under heavy rocks. She thought it was over, but that night a white rose appeared on her doorstep once more. She closed the door quickly, her heart racing. For days things were quiet. No knocks, no voices. Mama Ebele returned to her cooking for the villagers. She smiled again. She sang as she stirred her pot. One morning, she went to fetch water. On her way back, she saw something that froze her blood. All around her compound, white roses had bloomed. Dozens of them. Too many. She dropped her bucket and ran inside, bolting her door. The whispers returned that night. You cooked for us once. You cannot stop now, the voices said. Mama Ebele covered her ears. No, she shouted. But the air grew cold. Her firewood could not burn. Her food would not cook. Her spoons floated on their own. Shadows danced on her walls. That night, her door unlocked itself. Figures came in, dozens of them, faces she did not know. They sat at her table, waiting. Feed us, they whispered again. Mama Ebele stood frozen. Then, slowly, she lit a candle and picked up her pot. If I cook, will you leave me? She asked. A tall ghost stepped forward. Only until the next hunger, it said. She nodded and she cooked. again and again, night after night. The ghost would come, eat, then vanish before dawn. The villagers noticed she looked tired, pale. Her voice was softer, and her laughter was gone, but no one dared ask her why. One day, a man from another town arrived. He was a hunter, brave and bold. I hear you cook for the dead, he said. Mama Ebele did not answer. That night, he stayed to watch. He hid behind her hut and waited. When the ghost came, he gasped. He raised his gun, but Mama Ebele shouted, No! The ghost turned away. Their eyes glowed. The man dropped his weapon and ran into the night. He never returned. From that night, the ghost became more restless. They no longer waited quietly. They demanded more food, richer spices, rare meats. Mama Ebele struggled. Her hands burned from cooking. Her legs ached, but still she cooked. If she did not, they might eat her. She thought of leaving the village, but knew the ghost would follow her anywhere. Her only hope was to trick them again. But how? She remembered what the shadow said. Don't let them live hungry. But what if they couldn't live at all? She began to prepare one final dish. She gathered herbs from Mama Ugo, seeds from the hills, and water from the dark river. She cooked slowly, carefully. This meal was different. She called it the meal of binding. That night, the ghost came smiling and floating. They sat down, and Mama Ebele served them herself. They ate with joy, laughed without sound, but then their faces changed. One by one, they froze. Their hands stopped. The spoons dropped. What have you done? A ghost asked. You have fed us a prison, another cried. Yes, Mama Ebele said. And now you will stay here, inside this meal, never to hunger again. The egg cracked, the ground shook. All the ghosts screamed and vanished. Her pot glowed for a moment, then cooled. The next morning, Mama Ebele buried the pot under the baobab tree. She poured salt over it, then oil, then whispered a prayer of sealing. The earth trembled once and then stilled. From that day, no ghost came again. Her firewood lit easily, her spoons stayed in place, and the white roses disappeared. She could sleep again, but Mama Ebele never smiled as much, and she never cooked after sunset anymore. Mama Ebele became quiet. She still cooked for the living, but her food no longer made people dance with joy. It was still good, but not magical. Some said the taste left with the ghost. She did not argue. She gave her food, took her coins, and went back inside. At night, she sat alone listening to the wind, always watching the baobab tree. Sometimes she thought she saw shadows dancing under its leaves. She would light a candle and whisper, Not tonight, until the shadows faded. One night, rain fell hard, thunder roared, and the wind howled. Mama Ebele tried to sleep, but something called her name. Ebele, the voice said, soft and slow. She sat up quickly. Then it came again. Ebele. She ran to the window and saw nothing but the storm. Then she heard it, a spoon falling to the floor. She rushed to her kitchen. Nothing was there, but her stew pot was rocking back and forth on its own. The lid slowly opened, and she screamed. Inside the pot, there was no food, only a single white rose, fresh and wet from the rain. Mama Ebele fell to her knees. I buried you, she cried. She grabbed the rose and threw it into the fire, but the flames died. The rose didn't burn, it stayed whole, shining like moonlight. Then she heard the whisper again. We are not hungry. We are waiting. Mama Ebele held her chest. The cold air pressed around her. The ghosts weren't gone. They were just patient. The next day, Mama Ebele visited Mama Ogo again. They came back, she said, her voice shaking. Mama Ogo nodded. The dead do not forget kindness or flavor. What do I do now? Mama Ebele asked. The old woman handed her a gourd. Keep this beside your fire. It holds silence. If they return, pour a drop into your pot. It will quiet their hunger for one more night. Mama Ebele took it and left, but deep down she knew it was only a delay. Weeks passed without trouble. No knocks, no shadows, no whispers. But the baobab tree began to grow faster, its roots spreading through her yard. White roses started to bloom on its branches. No one had ever seen roses grow on a tree before. The villagers stayed away, afraid. Mama Ebele began to speak to the tree at night. I know you're watching, she would whisper, but I won't cook for you again. The tree never answered, but its branches always leaned towards her door. One night, the god of silence fell and cracked. Mama Ebele gasped. The liquid spilled, soaking into the floor. That very moment, a cold wind blew through the house. The candles died, the firewood split, and outside, roses began to bloom faster, covering the ground. Mama Ebele held her pot tightly. No more, she cried, but the air answered with laughter. Not cruel, just hungry. That night, the knock returned. One soft tap, then two, then three. Mama Ebele stood by her door, her pot in one hand, a wooden spoon in the other. The knocks grew louder, then the door opened on its own. The man in black stood there again, but this time he was no longer alone. Hundreds of shadows stood behind him, their eyes glowing softly. We are not here to eat, he said. We are here to remember. He stepped forward, placed a white rose on her table, and whispered, Thank you, Mama. The shadows did not sit, they did not float. They simply stood watching her. Then, as quickly as they came, they turned and faded, one by one. The last to leave was the man in black. You gave us warmth, taste, memory, he said. Now we will rest. He bowed and disappeared like smoke in the wind. The candles lit themselves, the firewood burned again. The roses outside withered and fell. The baobab tree was still. Mama Ebele's kitchen, finally, was quiet. From that day on, Mama Ebele cooked freely again. Her food became even better than before. Rich, warm, unforgettable. People said eating her stew felt like hugging someone you missed. But one rule remained. She never kept white roses in her home. And though she sang again while cooking, she always left a small bowl of stew outside her door each night, just in case a spirit passed by. Not out of fear, but out of respect. For once, she had cooked for ghosts, and they had never forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to this point, please give this video a thumbs up. It will help grow my small YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, do well to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I post more interesting content like this. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on these stories. If you haven't gone through my channel yet, do well to go through my channel. I have more interesting content like this. Please share my stories and engage on my stories. See you guys in my next video. Bye.